Hi, I'm Extreme Retriever, linguist, founder from Lingua and Lingua Plus. And today I have a question for you. Do you think that a thought has a language? It's not. Some time ago, we had a conversation with two wonderful linguists, Andrew Hedlund and Rodolfo Mattiello, where we were actually trying to figure this out. It was even probably, pre-pandemic. There was some time ago. And what provoked it, there were different articles stating that some people can hear voices in the head, meaning, words, phrases, like your own inner voice. And some people just see pictures, like clips. Okay. We thought, well, this is quite interesting. So it means that there are different ways how people actually process information. But then, as well as linguists, as teachers, wondered, but we say all the time as well, like the students, learn to think in that language, right? And language that you learn. And I personally, well, all my years experienced thinking in other languages. And for me, one of the signs of the progress was that I was starting to think in the language, like in my target language. And sometimes I had to be like conscious, self-conscious in a way, like pushing myself to think in that language. Or, for instance, to put down some ideas or maybe plans in that language, right? Or like share, in like journaling, in a journal in my target language. So then I would start, thinking in that language. Then I noticed that while I was practicing the language, maybe when I was experiencing cultural immersion, meaning being in the country of that language and that culture, being surrounded by it, or even being in another country, but being surrounded by the people speaking that language, by like listening to them all the time during the day with them, like for instance, flatmates during my student years, I would pick up at some point, yeah, this sensation, oh, I'm thinking actually another language without even noticing it. Well, true, right? Like a lot of you, I believe, have experienced it. However, still, what about thought itself? Because sometimes maybe you've also, well, either heard about it or felt it. When you get an idea and it just appears in your mind, and it may be not even like in any language, it just appears. Maybe you see an image, maybe it's just there and you can talk about it, it's just there. Or maybe you've had a situation, especially if you're multilingual, that suddenly you don't remember how to say a particular word or describe an abstract concept in any language. You just don't have a word for it and you're stuck there because you don't know how to say it. Well, then with time, as I've been between Europe and Latin America and States, so I had a chance in Latin America to go with the local culture and actually go with the ancient medicine plants, ceremonies, and get into altered states of consciousness. And for me, this was mostly, about mental health, healing of my, psychological traumas and all. Um, and that was very interesting because I was also going there as a scientist, as a linguist. And somewhere there, I had a chance as well to ask this question. And what was so interesting about it, that I realized that indeed, for communication, for thoughts, we don't need words per se, because actually information can be transferred in all possible ways, in different ways, whether it's a light, whether it's a sound, vibration. And that was quite a revelation because I'm a Virgo girl. Like I talk a lot, right? I think a lot. Like I can see pictures in my brain, right? And then I can hear as well my inner voice. It's coming together. But that different state, I could see, I could feel that no, for thoughts, we don't have all the time to have thoughts, or maybe we just don't need them. And that also influenced the way how I see now, well, language learning. Is I believe that there's this conscious part and unconscious part, and there's conscious, and there I've studied a lot of Jung, especially connecting Jung with well, linguistics, psycholinguistics, language alter ego. The thing is that your conscious self can be pushing towards thinking in that language, right? So, again, like I'm self-conscious, I want to think in Italian. But when we talk about other like subconscious, unconscious selves, so there, indeed, you don't need any words because it just works in different way. So what it means came to me that you need just be in that language and that culture. Be meaning live in it. As I already like I've been talking in other videos about feelings, emotions, feel in that language. So first consciously as well, maybe with an effort, with attention, connect your feelings, your emotions, your experiences with the language. Then you can try to describe it and don't be afraid of being not that eloquent, scarce vocabulary, because you're doing it all for yourself. And eventually you are living in that language, like in your target language, for instance. And that's the beauty of it, because suddenly when you're liberated from that idea that thoughts need a language, so like we need a language for thoughts, then you're gonna be like, okay, maybe right now you can't think in your target language, and maybe you're worried that you don't have progress, but maybe it's just, well, the way how you're built in a way, like your settings. Maybe you don't have to think, well, in language per se. Maybe you're seeing, the images, clips, or maybe you processing information another way. Well, if there is another way, just please share with us. But then the thing, like, so no pressure. If you don't think right now another language, like automatically, it's okay. You actually need, especially if you're not surrounded here by this foreign language. So you need them to push yourself consciously, so that consciously you can start thinking in that language, kind of like developing a habit. But if you don't, it's okay. Thought doesn't have a language per se. And that's beautiful. Well, what are your thoughts on that matter? Feel free to share, comment, and I'll see you in other videos. Bye.